Hello there, Maritza Collins with What's Cooking. Thank you for joining us today for the sixth and final episode of our fall cooking series. Today we're being joined by Daisie Cristobal Sanchez and her mom, Clara Cristobal, and we're in for a treat. Daisie and Clara, tell us what's cooking.
Thanks, Maritza. So, as Maritza mentioned, I'm Daisie Cristobal Sanchez, and this is my mom, Clara.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
And today we're going to be making arroz con pollo, Cuban style, or shall we say Clara style. So, the ingredients are going to be listed at the end, but we'll also run through them as we go. The arroz con pollo ingredients: olive oil, cow rose rice, tomatoes, chicken broth, cilantro, garlic, obviously chicken, onions for the sofrito, and red peppers for the garnish on top. Saffron is also going to be used, but it's not currently out. So currently we're prepping the chicken, and we are cutting the chicken breast into strips. And we will then start the process. All right, we are making the sofrito. We have the chopped onions. If you have a food processor, want to get them nice and tiny in there, we put them in ours to get them going. We are going to saute them in a little bit of olive oil. I think we've decided this might be a little too many onions for the sofrito. But arroz con pollo is probably the atypical Cuban dish. Most places in Latin America and other cultures have them. It's probably the most universal, whether it's all together or separate, but it's all something pretty unified in the Latin culture. I mean, every Cuban cookbook will have some type of a recipe. We are using chicken breasts here in our house. We use skinless, boneless chicken breasts. Always have, always will, but any Cuban cookbook of the many thousands that are here at my mom's house all have wonderful recipes. So just to give you a little sight in. So we're making the sofrito. We've started by sauteing the onions. And we are now going to start getting some of the other ingredients together for the sofrito. Clara, what are you using? What's that? Tomato?
No, yeah, tomato sauce or not yet. I just opened it.
Okay, we're just opening the tomato sauce. It's not quite yet ready for it. But we have the strips of the boneless chicken breast. We have the garlic. We have some of the garnishes over here. The cilantro and the chicken broth. We, unlike most recipes, actually, like I said, we use boneless chicken breast, but we also do not use beer. I think that that's probably the thing that you're going to notice that's different here in the making of my mom Clara's arroz con pollo. My mom is from the province of Oriente, the area of Manzanillo in Cuba. This is her style of making it, and even her mom's and her aunt's is different than the version she makes.
We're going to make white wine.
We're going to put white wine in it as well. Key ingredients. And it's cow rose rice that she uses. I'm sure that there's other recipes that call for different items. But we also don't put peas in it because we have family members who don't necessarily love peas. So we don't put peas in it. We will be putting olives. But I think what's cool is everybody knows it, right? Cumin. Cumin is one of the ingredients that we'll be using as well. Clara is getting some of the items as she goes through the process here. We are sauteing onions while she went to grab something else in another part of the house. This is the basis here for the sofrito. Now, the question is, what do you guys call it in your respective countries. I know that in the Dominican Republic it has a different name, and some of the other Latin American countries don't necessarily call it arroz con pollo, but it's said to come from the paella as its general root. Paella has more seafood and everything, but this is a derivative of that. So right now we're adding pepper strips. This is, my mom says she's cooking made easy by Clara Cristobal. And we use the pre-chopped fajita blend of peppers. She prefers not to use the green ones. She prefers to just use the red ones. But again, it's all preferential to whomever is cooking. We're often told we're spoiled rotten because we only eat specific things, but I think that's every family has their own likes and dislikes. So this is, again, the basis for the sofrito here. And what level of heat is that on, Mom? Is that on a medium there? On a medium heat? These peppers will sizzle. Mom, you didn't add garlic yet. When do you add the garlic? When the cebolla is translucent. When the onion is translucent. Some green ones are sneaking in there, Clara.
Yeah.
Some sneak attack green bell peppers are sneaking into the mix here. Okay, so the onion is translucent. The bell peppers are getting where they need to be. Now we're adding the homemade sofrito that Clara made earlier.
It's
So
a little spicy.
it's a little spicy, but that's how we like it. Ooh, we had a splash. We had a splash. It's okay. You can get in there. If this was smell-o-vision, this would be quite excellent. All right. We're mixing the sofrito. We had to put on aprons because we were starting to chispotear or splatter. Now we're gonna add garlic, fresh crushed. That again was prepped earlier today, but we always have it on hand. We like buying it in bulk, the peeled ones, grown here in the US or Latin America, whichever ones you prefer. They have better flavor.
A little bit of comino.
A little bit of comino. And like every typical Latino household, no hay medida. There's no measurement. It's just whatever happens, guys. So follow along the best that you can. Clara doesn't necessarily write the measurements as far as teaspoons or anything like that. That's why I said a good guide is a good Cuban cookbook. I'll towards the end shoot you guys some good ideas on some ones that we recommend that we think are better and more in tune with what we make. So we just added the chicken breast to the sofrito. Again, I said they were skinless, boneless. That's just our preference. We cut them in strips. If you guys remember when I showed the book, it was actually bone-in chicken that was used for this one, and skin, I see there. A lot of people think it adds more flavor. That's, like I said, again, it's a personal preference situation. We just prefer boneless, skinless. That's how it's always been. And it takes up less room in the pan, according to Clara. This is arroz con pollo Clara style, as we mentioned earlier. So it is what it is. We have to take it. So we'll wait for the chicken to brown a little bit. Get all mixed up in there with the sofrito. And Mom, who taught you how to make arroz con pollo?
Myself.
Myself.
And just look at my mom, but it's look completely different to what my mom used to make.
Yeah, we didn't like abuelas that much. She had a different method, and like I said earlier, my aunt, or my mom's aunt, so my grandma's sister, she also makes it different. Everybody has their own method, but my mom tweaked it over time and made it her own. So that's why I said this is the Clara version of arroz con pollo. So she added salt. I don't know if you guys caught that in the shaker when we were chit-chatting. But a lot of the cooking that my mom and my dad, he doesn't cook as much anymore, but he used to. They just learned from watching other people, not necessarily in their households, but just watching people cook different things and then adapting it to make them their own. And I think that that's the key to all recipes, right? Is just making it your own and making it what it is that your family and you prefer. So we're browning the chicken breast.
And mine is the most light.
The most light?
Light.
Oh, the most liked. She's tooting her own horn here, and saying that people often compliment her on her arroz con pollo. And it is different. And there's different ways of making this same arroz con pollo. So my mom has this is probably the most common and the fastest one that we make, but there's one that you make more ensopado or more soupy, so it's got more liquid to it. This one's gonna be a little bit more soupy. It is cold outside today, so we decided to take advantage of that and make it more soupy. There's some that come out less soupy, more like a paella style. And then we do one which is called arroz con pollo imperial, which is actually layered. So you make the rice and the chicken separately, but the chicken is shredded. My mom also uses chicken breast for that one. So it's the same kind of situation you see here, but instead of it being in cubes, you'd have it in shreds, and then you would layer it. So you do the rice separately, and then you layer it like a lasagna. So rice on the bottom, the chicken in the middle, and then rice on the top again, and it's garnished. Sometimes people make really pretty designs on the outside. I'll see if I can find a really cool recipe of that and show you guys. And then the controversial one is that people put mayonnaise on the top of it.
Yeah, some people put mayonnaise, some people put Parmesan cheese, and some people put Swiss cheese and put it on there.
Yeah, and then you put it in the oven and bake it. I've never had the Swiss cheese version that I could think of. Maybe I've seen it before in Miami. That's been many moons ago. I don't hate the mayonnaise version of it. I actually like it. I think it adds a different kind of taste to it. But I'm just more of a vinegary lemon type of person. Sometimes when we do the arroz con pollo, I add a little bit of vinegar. So we're going to add the diced tomatoes now to the mix here. So the chicken has browned pretty well. As you can see, it's cooked. And now we've added the diced tomatoes. We're not sponsored by Del Monte, but Del Monte is the brand we are using today. Tag, thanks Del Monte. Shameless plug.
We're going to use half of the tomato sauce.
Tomato sauce? Okay, so we're using canned tomato sauce, and we're going to use half of the little can right now in this portion. And we're saving the rest.
Because otherwise it will be too tomato.
Or else it'll be too much tomato, because you've already got the diced tomatoes. Remember, we put the homemade sofrito in there. That was a secret blend. Sorry, guys, can't reveal that one. But it went in there. It had a little bit of spice, because we like it spicy. We've adapted to that. And now it's just kind of stewing. So the chicken's really stewing right now in the tomato, the sofrito, all that good stuff. Now, Mom, when Abuela used to make it, did she used beer, right? No, she didn't use beer either. See, we're not the people that cook with beer. No. But Tia Cuca does.
I don't know.
We don't know, but I think she did. It's been a while since I've seen her make it, but I think that she uses beer. And
Abuela Mariana.
Yeah, so we have another Abuela Mariana who is in our family, and she does use beer in it. I think when it's used with beer, I see it turn a little bit more like browny green. It's not like the saffron color, because we'll be using saffron later too. That's really what makes that yellowy color in it. But I mean, we just prefer not to use it. We do use wine. Like I was saying right before, we're going to add a little bit of Rioja Vina, white wine vinegar to the mix for a little bit of acidity. That was zoom vision there of the bottle. Just a little bit. Just a tiny bit. That's some real... This is the white wine, right?
White wine.
White. We're adding white wine. Could use whichever one you want. There's cooking wine, about half a cup. She's now trying to measure. Al gusto. To your taste. However much you like.
We let it simmer there for a little while.
So we're going to let it simmer about how long? Meh. Give or take.
10 or 15 minutes.
10 or 15 minutes?
Depends the time, you know. If you're going to make the rice right away or you're going to make...
We're going to
let it
eat
stand
this.
there for a while.
We're all going to eat this very soupy arroz con pollo today to keep us warm on this cold night, even though it's really hot right here. Stovetop. We are missing the plátanos maduros. So there was a Plátanos 101 that was done earlier in the YouTube What's Cooking. Personally, I don't like plátano maduros. I know what kind of a Cuban am I, but I don't necessarily like maduros. Sometimes in a great while, I just want to eat them. If they're not too sweet, I don't like them overly ripe. But that is usually the accompaniment to this dish. Would be plátanos, either tostones or patacones or the green ones, smashed green ones, however you want to call it, or the ripe ones. So it just depends, again, on your taste and what you or your family prefer. I personally like tostones. I think it gives it a good crunch factor into the rice. Some people like to leave it too so that the raspas or the socorat on the bottom where it sticks, but we're not that. So we're putting the juice of the roasted bell pepper. And we're going to use that bell pepper later to garnish it, but we put the juice in there. It's kind of vinegary too, so it adds to the acidic level. So we'll save that bell pepper for later, or the roasted bell pepper for later.
Yeah.
So I'm going to enjoy this with the rest of us later. So again, I wish we had taste vision or smell vision because it smells really good. And this was, I've attempted to make this, I think, twice. I made it when my husband and I were first dating. But I think I made it with camarones, right? When I made it? I think so. I don't remember. We will be putting olives. The peanut gallery that you hear in the background, we have my mom, my dad, my mom cooking, obviously. We have my dad, my husband, and my brother. My brother yelled, don't forget the olives. Oh, and my dog, Piggy. He snorted to let us know he was here as well. But he's the latest addition to the family. He does not eat this because he's vegetarian. The secret ingredient, the saffron that's going in there. A master can never truly reveal their secrets, but it's the colorant, the saffron, however you want to add that in. I think if we're kind of looking at the guide here, what do they say here? They use the Goya Sazon, if Goya is your brand, or any brand of Sazon con azafrán, or Sazon with saffron is what that is. So that's what gives it that yellow color to it. So we added, what did you add to the can, Mom? You got to clean out the can. You can't leave anything in the can.
Chicken broth.
A little bit of chicken broth in the can, and then she puts it into the little sazon package to give it a little bit of a mix to it, and clean out the can, clean out the azafrán package, and presto magic. And that way it gets all the flavor, every last bit of it. No se gasta nada. Nothing goes to waste, right? So we are going to let this simmer And this is something like you could prepare ahead of time, right? Like if you're not maybe...
Up to here, yeah.
Yeah, like up to here, you could prepare this ahead of time. You could leave this here. And then when you're ready, like say you have guests coming over and they haven't arrived, and you obviously want to make this to eat. So it should go from the stove to the table. But if your guests haven't arrived, or, you know, and you want to anticipate a little bit on your cooking, you could get to this stage, kind of let it sit here. And then once your guests arrive and you have kind of your eating time, then you could go ahead and start adding the rice and finish it off from this point here. Oopsie, so we kind of made a little boo-boo, but it's okay. This is where it goes? Okay, so my bad. I just heard her say the cilantro, so I thought maybe we made a mistake, but she's cutting fresh cilantro into this portion right here. So we're going to... Did you guys use cilantro in Cuba, or is this just...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? Okay. Just
No, this kind of cilantro is the culantro. Another one that is a hard leaf.
Culantro. I think in Panama they use culantro a lot, no?
That is a hard leaf.
Yeah, it's a harder leaf of the cilantro.
It's not like that. It's like a look.
Yeah, South America uses culantro a lot too.
The other one.
And the southern part of Mexico. See, look at it's Arroz con Pollo 101, but we're learning a little bit about everything. So about how much cilantro do you put in there, Mom? So it floats around?
Maybe about 2 tablespoons of...
2 tablespoons of cilantro?
Yeah, cut cilantro for me. Whatever
Fresh cut, you see that?
Yeah.
And we've found a way that now we make the sidebar note, but how to make the cilantro last a little bit longer is we actually, so when we get home from the market, we take all of the little ties off and we wash it all and we lay it out to dry, and then we wrap them in paper towels and then put it back in the bag, and it really extends the life of cilantro. I know we if you leave the little metal ties on there, that's probably what makes it get bad faster. But I did also find out that we're gonna make asparagus as a side dish today in our, well, not mine, but my mom's fancy new air fryer, and we're gonna see what that comes out with too. So we'll take some video of that too. So now we've let it simmer with the cilantro, and we are now going to add chicken broth. About
I'm gonna put, because I'm gonna make 3 cups of rice. I'm gonna put 3 cups of
chicken broth.
Because I have all the other.
Has about 3 more cups in there of the other stuff, the juices and the wine and all that good stuff. And now, if you wanted it to come out soupy, would you add more here?
Yeah. When you get if they start getting a little dry, then we can add more.
Okay.
Then we wait until it start boiling.
Okay.
And then we put the rice on.
Okay. We're gonna add 3 cups of rice today, and that's for about how many people? It's only 5 of us today, but there's always gotta have more for leftovers for another day. So it's 2 meals. 2 meals for the price of 1.
Or for the friends.
Or for friends. Okay, so we'll finish on the asparagus after. So now the arroz con pollo is now in the next phase. It's boiling, so now we are going to add the 3 cups of rice. And just pour it in there. So there's no, again, we use Calrose rice. Other people, this cookbook here uses Valencia, but you could use arborio, you could use short grain. Again, whatever your family prefers. You just mix it up in there.
I can me gusta long grain.
Some people like long grain. No. So we put in the rice, we mixed it up in there to make sure the rice gets everywhere. It's now starting to boil again. What level heat do you have it on, Mom?
Now it's high
Now it's on high.
for start boiling.
Then it starts boiling. All right, and then
cover.
as it starts to boil and really get to that boiling stage, we're gonna cover, leave it on high. No, we're gonna lower it down to low and let it simmer for how long, Clara?
15 minutes.
15? 15 minutes. We're setting the timer. Timer set. In the interim, we're going to start making our side dish. We've got some asparagus in our fancy schmancy air fryer. Say hi, Piggy. Piggy's the chef, the sous chef. And then we will go from there. Let's see what happens next. So it hasn't reached the 15-minute mark. Almost. We're about 56 seconds in. But we're checking it to see the consistency of soupiness. Those are the technical terms.
And the grain.
And to see if the grains have popped, I guess you could say, or burst. Or if they're ready, basically, in a nutshell. So Clara is tasting it.
Le faltan como 5 minutos.
Le faltan como 5 minutos. 5 minutes about left, so we got 5 more minutes. So 15 minutes was what we said. You come in, you check it. Again, check the soupiness of it, check the grain. Make sure it's the consistency that you want. At this point, she is going to add the strips of the roasted red peppers so that they can start to mingle in there. And then the olives, Mom, you put those, well, we're not going to put olives into this mix.
No le gustan los olivos. Los olivos se ponen cuando el sofrito.
Usually you put the olives in at the sofrito point. Since I don't like olives in my food. Usually I'll eat them, obviously, but we get spoiled and Clara does not put them in there. So we will garnish them sometimes. We'll garnish it with olives. Again, it's up to each person and each family on what they like. The peas, those roasted peppers, you can also put that. So there's a lot of different things you could do. So asparagus you can put on top. We actually have the asparagus cooking in our air fryer. So we're gonna make an ensalada de aguacate. So we're gonna put some avocado, cut up some avocado and have it for a side dish as well with the asparagus and the arroz con pollo. So we shall wait these additional 5 minutes with the magic of time, and we shall movie magic it and see it. 5 minutes are up, and the rice is perfect. It's soft. We did add a little bit more chicken broth, right? Probably about the halfway mark in those 5-minute simmers that we added on to the second half. Because as I mentioned at the get-go, we wanted a more soupy version today. Of course, you can make it to whatever it is that you like. We have accompanied it with asparagus from the air fryer and a cucumber, onion, tomato salad. And of course, ensalada de aguacate, avocado salad. I know it doesn't look like a quote-unquote salad, but this is what we call ensalada de aguacate. I was reading that next to some of the other dishes most known in Cuba, the black beans and the white rice, the most ordered Cuban dish at most Cuban restaurants is arroz con pollo. We will take a serving of it and make sure that you get that final look on the plate. And hopefully you enjoyed our cooking lesson here. So wait for that final product with the movie magic, and voila. Bon appetit. There you go. Show us the plate, Clara. There you go. And there we are, our soupy arroz con pollo, Cuban Clara style. Bon appetit.
Wow, that looked amazing. Thank you, Clara and Daisy, for sharing the recipe of arroz con pollo a la clara. As you mentioned, arroz con pollo is definitely one of those staple meals in Latin America. I also want to thank all of the fellow cooks that shared their stories and recipes in previous episodes. Thank you, Melissa, Jessica, Teresa, Liuska, Alex, and now Clara and Daisy. And thank you for tuning in to watch these 6 episodes. We look forward to seeing you next time so you can find out what's cooking. Thank you.